The Gauteng Transport MEC is celebrating the conclusion of an agreement that will see an end to taxi violence. Jacob Mamabolo says SANTACO and the Gauteng National Taxi Alliance have joined hands to seal the deal. He joins us now to tell us a little bit more about this agreement. MEC, good evening and thank you for your time tonight. Coming into office now as the MEC for Transport, you were met first and foremost by the issue of violence in the taxi industry, and this is what you literally had to deal with. You called a couple of meetings and now you've reached this point where a commitment has been made by the taxi industry.
Well, firstly, good evening to you and to all the viewers, and thanks very much for the opportunity. Let me just indicate that whilst the rest of the people in the province are worried about having to protect and defend ourselves against potentially the spread of COVID-19, the taxi industry has another big threat, which is the ongoing taxi violence. And this is beginning to increase, obviously, with the pressures brought to bear on the taxi industry, on the financial streams of commuters. What we are really delighted about and very much pleased is the bold and very good decision that has been taken by the taxi industry in Gauteng. The leadership at the provincial level has come to a conclusion that the provincial government should be mandated and empowered in those cases where there are internal fights inside taxi associations that threaten lives of people, can be members of taxi associations, lives of commuters, that the provincial government can place such associations under administration and give them a breathing space to be able to renew themselves, to find a better way forward. And this is, I can tell you, an unprecedented mandate given to the provincial government. Secondly, they've also decided that currently there are methods where they collect money from taxi operators. It is alleged that these monies are being collected to further taxi violence and basically to pay people that commit this type of crimes. So the decision here again is that the provincial government, and of course this has to be in consultation with the taxi industry, can be able to direct taxi associations. Firstly, every money collected should be deposited in a bank account, because currently they put what they call a bucket and using the barrel of the gun force people to contribute or pay money forcefully. So the decision is every cent paid must be paid into the bank account. The money must be accounted for through audited statements, and that any collection of money should be a result of an internal democratic process in which members, all of them, should be able to say, yes, indeed, or the majority, indeed, we do need to collect money for this and that. So I can assure you, this type of
it's a huge undertaking, MEC, and a huge commitment by the taxi industry. But I'm sure that would mean you would have needed to make commitments yourself to them for them to give you such power.
I can assure you, since we met with the taxi industry last year in a watershed provincial summit in July, the taxi industry has actually demonstrated beyond doubt that they need to open a new chapter. They need to turn around the taxi industry, and the first step is to end violence. And I can tell you, this watershed, unprecedented, very historic decision, never given to any department, organ of state, sphere of government, I can tell you will go down in history as a very decisive and bold move. We are confident that once we close the leaking taps, once we seal the finances of the taxi industry and make sure that they go to where they're supposed to go to, the market of killing, the entire killing machinery, will actually find itself in a serious difficulty, because the monies that are used to pay them won't be there. So to this extent, I agree with you. This is a historic decision, and we are confident, and as a province, we are ready to implement this decision together with the taxi industry, and this marks a complete turnaround of the taxi industry, it will never be the same.
You've said it yourself. I mean, some of the bosses or the leadership in these associations, they are used to ruling by the barrel of the gun, and that's how they've been operating all this time. How are you planning to remove those guns then? Because clearly they are still there.
Well, remember that what brought and attracted guns to the taxi industry is another sub-industry that came out. And I can tell you when it started, people never thought this sub-industry will grow bigger to even threaten to eat the taxi industry itself. And we're talking about people that are known and defined in the language of the taxi industry as Nkabis. These are people whose job, they don't operate taxis, they don't run taxis. All what they do is to actually, it's a killing machinery within the taxi industry.
They're hired hitmen.
That's for us to get rid of that. We have to get rid of the money that pays them. So what I'm saying is, and this is what we say, once the taps are closed and there are no more leaks, there won't be hands to grease the hands of this killing machinery. So to that extent, we are quite confident that once the money is gone, there's no way that you'll still have this killing machinery operating in the province. So to this extent, we are confident that kicking what they call the bucket and closing the leaking taps should go a long way to push back the frontiers of the killing machinery within the taxi industry.
Now, under this agreement, how are you dealing with the other issues that were raised to you? The prejudice suffered by some taxi associations when they deal with officials at the traffic department, for example.
Well, let me say to you that the taxi industry, and given the relationships we have with them, they understand one thing, and one thing is very clear. The law has to take its course, but also where there are challenges and problems, allegations made against our government officials, law enforcement agencies, those matters are brought to our attention and we are able to deal with them. What is important here is that we have established a very solid partnership with the taxi industry. Any matter that comes, any matter that worries them, we put it on the table. But the principle here is, let's put aside the barrel of the gun, the rule of the jungle, which is the barrel of the gun, and follow the rule of law. Even where they are not happy, they've got grievances. Let's follow the processes established by the laws of this country to solve any problem, including allegations about our own officials, about law enforcement agencies, traffic officials, and any other matter that concerns them.
Now, MEC, the other processes that were running while you were having these talks is, of course, that commission of inquiry into taxi violence. Does that mean now that commission is closed, or where does it put the work of the commission?
Well, remember the commission is investigating real causes and factors that contribute to taxi violence. And the commission is looking into those. It is going to give us a very good, tested, verified report about these are the causes, and that work is continuing. The intervention we have made is one or two more interventions in a multi-pronged, multidisciplinary, overarching interventions, because a problem of this magnitude and scale, you can't solve it with just one intervention. So the Commission of Inquiry is going on to look at all the other issues, some of them historic, including helping families to get closure where there were no proper investigations, what has happened. So what we are doing here is really to add new impetus, but very decisive, to the work that the Commission is doing. And with all these interventions we're putting in place, I can tell you they are leading all of them into one thing and one thing only, and that is they'll complement each other to bring to a complete end the tragedy that the taxi industry faces of loss of life and destabilizing and inconveniencing commuters. That has to end, and I can assure you all these interventions, all of them, they will give us a very good outcome.
Now, how is the pandemic affecting the work of that commission in terms of the timelines, but also in terms of the cost of that commission now to the taxpayers?
Well, let me say that, and that's a very important question. I hope that all of us will appreciate the reality that during the alert level 5 lockdown, 4 as well, key sectors of government, including departments in the commission itself, were not working, and the work that they have to do still remain outstanding. The commission will actually give us a report about what was the impact of COVID on their work, what is still outstanding, and I can tell you, given the importance of this commission and how it is deep diving right into the issues and bringing them to the fore, if they really indicate this and indicate it in a manner that we expect, I don't think Honorable Premier David Makura and the provincial government will have a difficulty in considering in a very good way the proposal that will be put on the table. The cost of the commission should also be looked at in the context of saving lives, and obviously the money that government will spend on the commission will not be worth the life of any person. Yeah. We can't put a cost to any person's life. Of course, government doesn't have money. We have got difficulties, but this work is about saving lives, and we will have to balance the difficulties of the fiscus versus the necessity to protect life, and we'll be able to find a good middle ground and balance the two issues and make sure that one does not go in excess over the other.
So, I mean, in terms of numbers, the people of Gauteng would want to know how much money has been spent so far and how much will continue to be spent on this commission.
Yes, as I said, that and precisely the point I'm making, the commission will come with a report. So it will be a report on operational methods. How far have they gone in terms of investigations? It will also be a report of, okay, this is the cost to date, and even all those will be able to make a public announcement and say, to date, so much has been spent, so much work has been done, so much work still remains. And out of those three, we'll be able to say to the people of our province, we need to give the commission the opportunity to cover the period of COVID lockdown, because when the commission was put in place, nobody had anticipated that there will be a lockdown that will affect its work. Yeah. It's only fair that we recognize that. But you might find that they won't need much time. I'm not speculating about it, but all I'm saying is let's wait for the facts on cost, on work done, on work outstanding. All that will help us to make a good announcement. And we are a transparent, open, democratic government. We will definitely give all the data and facts and be able to help the people of our province to appreciate where we are.
I'm asking that because in light of the pandemic and the competition for resources right now, which are really scarce, people would want to know that and would want to know when that detail will be available. So when can we expect that report from the Commission?
Well, let me make a commitment that we will provide that information before just the end of July, and we will, of course, with the Premier, make sure that the provincial government can give that information, because we also want it. It's very important for us as well. So by the end of this month, I promise we will make an announcement and clarify what is the way forward with respect to the work of the Commission.
And we'll hold you to that promise, MEC. I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us tonight.